On Wednesday, June 21st, nearly 400 illegal Jewish settlers attacked a peaceful Palestinian village called Turmusaya. It is located north of Ramallah. And what's interesting about this village, aside from the fact that it's one of the most scenic and beautiful villages in that part of Ramallah, is the fact that most of its citizens are actually US citizens. But why did the Jewish settlers attack it? They attacked it hours after a Palestinian, or rather two Palestinians, were accused of attacking Jewish settlers in that area near a settlement called Eli. Eli is an illegal Jewish settlement that is built on stolen Palestinian land by the Israeli military and the Israeli government in violation of international law. Its residents are actually armed illegal Jewish militias. We call them settlers. In actuality, they should be called colonists or colonialists. Well, several of these settlers were killed in the Palestinian attack. But that Palestinian attack did not come out of nowhere. It was itself a response to an Israeli attack on the refugee camp and the town of Jenin in the northern West Bank. The Israeli attack on Jenin began on Monday, June 19th. 8 Palestinians were killed, including a young boy, 15-year-old, and a younger 14-year-old. Now you would say, well, this is kind of quite a typical Palestine-Israel news story, tit-for-tat violence. Not exactly. Let's remember that, first of all, Palestinians are an occupied people. They have the right to use any form of resistance against their occupiers. When Palestinians attack Israeli soldiers and armed settlers, it is a form of self-defense. When the Israeli military, an occupying power of a foreign state, attack Palestinians in their homes, villages, and refugee camps, that's a violation of international law. So this is not a tit for tat, and there is no moral equivalence here. If you don't believe me, check international law regarding this issue. But what was particularly alarming about the Israeli attack on Turmusaya is the fact that this attack has happened under the watchful eye of the Israeli military. Jivar al-Buderi is Al Jazeera correspondent in the West Bank. She said that the Israeli military was watching the entire chaotic scenes as tens of homes, over 30, tens of cars, over 60, and many orchards and shops and ancient olive groves were set ablaze by the Jewish settlers. Now, what does this really mean? Is the nature of the conflict, so-called conflict, that is changing in Palestine? Why are the Israeli settlers, the illegal Jewish settlers, are the ones doing the attacking? And why is the Israeli military allowing them to do so? Now, historically, Jewish settlers have done a lot of violence. In fact, much of the violence is an outcome of settler attacks on Palestinians. But what we have been witnessing lately, especially as of a few months ago, the Israeli Jewish pogrom in Hawara near Nablus, the setting ablaze of an entire town, and now again in Turmusaya and its environs, there is something different about the settler violence this time around. You see, Netanyahu is not yet ready to go and satisfy the demands of his far-right ministers who want him to go into a major military operation against the West Bank. Netanyahu doesn't want to do so because he understands that there will be political consequences of such action, and the outcome could achieve a paradigm shift that might not serve Netanyahu's interest. The Israeli military is also wary of a 2002 type invasion of Palestinian cities, as they have done in April 2002 when they invaded Jenin, Al-Khalil, Hebron, Bethlehem, Ramallah, Nablus, and elsewhere. They know that a repeat of such invasion could be very difficult, if at all possible, and certainly costly. Not only politically but militarily as well, because the Palestinian resistance today is far stronger and more prepared than it used to be. And also because there is a possibility that Gaza is going to enter the war in defense of their brethren of the West Bank. So what is Netanyahu to do? What Netanyahu is resolving would be the best option, at least for now, is to allow hordes of settlers going in with forks and torches, setting homes on fire, killing people at will, burning cars and burning ancient olive groves, and so forth and so on. What does he achieve by doing so? He's buying time. The settlers are feeling satisfied that they have exacted their revenge from the Palestinians, and the Israeli government is yet stable for another day. But if this continues, we are looking at a civil war with a religious nature. You see, Itamar Ben-Gvir and his ilk want a religious war in the West Bank. They have been itching for one, and they have been doing so for such a long time. So this is going to serve Itamar Ben-Gvir and his constituency. But there is something else to keep in mind, that the illegal Jewish settlements are situated within Palestinian population centers throughout East Jerusalem and the West Bank. And they are also not far away from the rockets of Palestinian resistance in Gaza. So if Palestinians retaliated in mass, there will be a civil war. And then neither Itamar Ben-Gvir nor Netanyahu are going to be happy with the outcome. There are nearly 700,000 illegal Jewish settlers who live in the occupied West Bank, illegally that is, and occupied East Jerusalem, while you have over 2 million Palestinians living in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. A civil war is going to be disastrous from everybody's point of view. But once more, even then, Palestinians are still the occupied people, and the resistance is a form of self-defense, while Israel is the aggressor, and its violence is a violation of international law. Keep that in mind. For more information, visit PalestineChronicle.com.